Hi guys, I trust that you're all well. So today I want us to talk about leadership and management, right? And of course, this will apply to all other theory papers that you normally tend to do under CPA. So you'll find that many a times I normally find these questions from you guys like I was prepared very well in this leadership and management or in any other theory paper, but Mwalimu, why is it? Why have I failed this paper, right? Like these papers for theory, you can do them more than thrice. Then you're like, is it that my village people don't want me to proceed, or what is happening? No, it is not your village people. So these are always the secret with the theory paper. You see, like answering the theory paper, like leadership and management or any other theory paper, when you're having a question, I'll always advise you guys to always give in point form. Like you gave the main pointer, and at the main pointer, now you explain. Now you can do all your stories that you can do, so long as you have stated the main pointer. Say, for example, maybe they have asked you, say, like, what are the characteristics of a good manager, right? So instead of you trying to give us all the story there. What you can do, give me point one, integrity. Then that is the main pointer. Explain, do all your stories now on integrity. So long as the main pointer is very visible. What you're trying to do, and this is a secret that Molimo is giving you, what you're trying to do is to simplify the work of the marker. So that in the sense that maybe I'm having this paper, I've seen like you've given me the main pointer, definitely I'm going to tell myself like whatever that you're going to tell me, of course, it might make sense. Other than you just giving me a lot of stories, you're starting answering with paragraph. You're making my work to be very, very hard. So in that event, you'll find that many a times, that's the reason probably why you've been failing this theory paper. And you're always like, why am I failing? Why am I failing? So kindly make sure that you've corrected that. In the event that you're dealing with leadership and management or any other theory paper in professional paper, all you need to do is make sure that you have your main pointers. After the main pointers, now proceed to all the story that you want to give. That will help, and I know you'll always tend to see the difference with that. So if you've been failing company law, if you've been failing a lot of in terms of leadership and management, if you've been failing auditing, both levels, if you've been failing entrepreneurship or rather communication, so it is not that you don't know, it is simply because of how you present your work. So from today on, let us learn how to present our work more so in never we are answering these theory questions. You'll find that you'll always be amazed with how easy these papers are to pass. So presentation is key. So today I want us to talk about leadership and management. I hope the tip will really help you a lot. And by the way, for those who are doing leadership and management, we normally tend to have classes on Saturdays and Sundays from 6 a.m. from 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. So if you want to join our communities, of course, you can just dial the number below there and get in touch with us. Join our community to learn all these tips and secrets, right? So, as mentioned, today we'll be looking at leadership and management. And the main concept that I want us to learn today is methods that you can use to generate new ideas. So, make sure that you attend this class till the end. So, here's the class. Thanks.
Hello, learners. Welcome to our session today. I am your instructor, CPA Aringo Frederick. In our class today, my good students, I want us to talk of a very important concept, and this is a concept of methods of generating new ideas. More so in the world that we are living today, people are very competitive. And therefore, you'll find that ideas are all over. But the question is, how best can we generate new ideas? How best can we generate new ideas? And that's why we want to look at methods of generating new ideas. Nowadays, you'll find that some method of generating new ideas in business, as much as it is very simple, but it's very vital, by the way. So you just want to look at ways that you can generate new ideas, because being amongst the key characteristics of an entrepreneur, recall, we say that an entrepreneur is an innovator, and coming up with, or rather being an innovative person, this is to say we are coming up with new ideas, new tools, we are coming up with things which are new, right? So in this case, talking of methods of generating new ideas, I'll just mention but a few. These will include the following. Number one, we normally tend to talk about storyboarding or storytelling. Is one method of generating business ideas. This aspect to do with storyboarding, or rather storyboarding. I'm going to list them, then you're going to look at each one of them. Storyboarding method. Number two, we normally tend to talk about aspect of that is of course mind mapping method. Mind mapping method. Number three method, you normally tend to talk about that is thinking hearts technique. Thinking hearts technique. Thinking hearts, of course, technique. Thinking hearts technique. Talk about brainstorming in reverse. Brainstorming in reverse. Also, we can talk about creating word banks. Whatever that Mwalimu is giving us, I know even majority of us, we've never seen them, right? These are new ways that we normally tend to look at as ways of coming up with new ideas. Because as much as the world is evolving, you'll also find that we won't be working traditionally. Also, we must kind of evolve with how the world is evolving. And that's why there are so many methods that are coming to place which you can use to generate new ideas. And these methods are what you're terming here as methods of generating new ideas, like storyboarding method, you have a mind mapping method, talk about thinking hard technique, brainstorming in reverse, creating word banks, etc. I want us to dissect the first one and see what it entails. And this main element that I want us to talk about is aspect of a storyboarding method. A storyboarding method is like a cartoon strip. You place a picture or pictures or written words to do with ideas, one after the other on a sheet of paper. Then you try to develop a story through them. When you storyboard ideas for these sessions, you'll find that you take ideas from everyone, write each one down on a sticky note, paste it on a board, and then try to form a story around it. It's a great way to see how these ideas interact and see if there is a connection that can be made amongst them. In this case, you are taking pictures. You are in a certain groups, more so whenever you guys meet for a cup of coffee, or rather you're just a group of individuals sitting somewhere. Storyboarding method will come into this place whereby I'll just pick some pics. In that I'm having a concept here, a certain picture of, say, like a certain picture of bread. Then I try to come up with a story relating to that. I take a picture, say for example, of a space suit. A real picture of a space suit. Then you try to come up with a story like Elon Musk, this and this, the suits are this and this. This was developed here. So basically you just come up with a certain story based on that, and you paste them somewhere. In that case, you'll find that also an idea can come into place. Talk about aspect of, you're just taking anything and come up with story in relation to that. You'll find that being individuals of different, you are thinking differently, you'll find that you'll come up with a certain item that will link. And this link might be, of course, a business opportunity, which you can take an advantage of, So that's why you're talking about what aspect to do with the storyboarding method. Talk about number 2, mind mapping method. Creating mind maps is common in many creative fields. To create a mind map, basically, you write down the problem on a whiteboard and then surround it with words that indicate the things that you feel you may need in order to solve the problem. If the problem is growing website traffic, for instance, the solution, of course, are the things that you need, like search engine optimizations, talk about organic traffic, etc. As a second mind map layer, you can take an individual, need like search engine optimization, and add potential solutions. So in this case, whatever that Mwalimu is trying to say, maybe we are using some of the website languages, but whatever Mwalimu is saying, that at times, whenever we're talking of mind mapping, you're looking at this situation whereby you are talking of it as a aspect maybe to do with maybe online marketing. You're having an issue to do with online marketing. Under online marketing, you can say that, of course, at this point, whatever that you can do, we can use search engine optimization, SEOs. We can use the aspect to do with social media. We can use the aspect to do with the email marketing. These are the solutions that we are looking at. We can do aspect to do with maybe aspect to do with Google Ads, right? Google Ads. So I'm surrounding a problem with solutions. I'm surrounding this problem with solutions that you can handle it. Then you ask yourself, like, if it was a search engine optimization, of course I want my website to be known all over. In this case, how will you go about it? Talk about email, talk about social media marketing, talk about Google Ads. We just surround our problem with solutions that we think might and will assist us when it comes to what? When it comes to the aspect to do with providing solution of the same. So that is a mind mapping method, which is very common, by the way, in nowadays, which is very common. So if you've never practiced mind mapping, kindly try and attempt that. So that should take us to aspect of course, the thinking hard technique, known as the 6 thinking hard technique. Basically, you'll find that under this method, I'm going to set, say, like a group of people. Each person will take up different role and address the problem in that capacity. One participant uses logic to think about the problem. Another one uses optimism to think, and the third one plays the devil's advocate. The others take up roles for emotion, creativity, and management. As each person takes up the role, they get to think very clearly about the problem in that capacity. This method can bring up far more viewpoints than any other technique, whereby I'm taking different roles in solving certain problem. And in such a case, we'll find that taking up such roles will generate some ideas of business. Of course, brainstorming in reverse, basically at this point, normal brainstorming, knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what to do. When you set up a reverse brainstorming session, your aim is to think up every mistakes that it would be possible to make in a given situation. Not solving a solution, but you're thinking of a mistake that you might make in every situation. In a reverse brainstorming session for marketing knowledge, for examples, participants would think of mistakes such as not using social media and social media ads, not paying attention to various metrics, and so on, whereby you'll find that in this case, that is a way that you can also come up with ideas, and of course, creating word banks, not word, but creating word banks. Whereby these basically involves, to create a word bank, you start with a word or a problem and then create a large set of words that you will associate with the word. It's a word association activity, but it works with large groups of words. Creating word banks basically helps you break a problem down in your mind and form manageable parts. When a word banking session is ready, you start to form relationships among the words that you've thought of. When you do this, you come up with what? With new ideas. So basically, these are ways, and so many ways that you can talk about of coming up with what? Of coming up with business ideas. Research is also one of the way, and so many other ways that you can talk about as methods of coming up with new ideas. So to that point, my good students, in our next class, we are going to introduce aspect to do with business plan, a very important concept again, which I know is also commonly tested in our exams. So in our next session, we are going to introduce business plan. So to this point, thank you so much, guys, and let us meet in the next session. Thank you.